Hello and welcome, beautiful souls. I am talking today about change and about the need for courage in order to change. And this is a very important topic right now because as we are all moving through this ascension process, as we are all shifting, we are all changing, continuously changing. And I really felt like I should make this video to help anybody that feels like they're resisting this change to just get a better understanding about why they need to not resist the change, how you don't resist the change, and how you can actually flow with it in a much easier way. So I feel like this is a pretty timely topic because we are in such massive change as it is, globally with all the different things going on around the world. So change requires courage. And that is something that I really truly noticed within myself as well. And I noticed that this courage is something that we have to learn to embody. So we resist change because we fear the unknown. And if you really think about that for a second, then and think about all the things in your life right now that you know that you need to change, but you're not changing. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you're not changing? Well, if you understand what I just said, that it's really the fear that we're resisting. It's really because we are in fear that we are resisting. If you understand that, then you can start to change your perception about it. And when you're able to shift your perception about it, then you're going to start to actually be able to start incorporating changes in your life. So, and it's always the fear of the unknown, right? When you don't know what to expect, when you don't know what's coming or what's going to happen if you make a certain change, then you're just so much more resistant to making that change because human beings are very much about control, I think. And something humanity needs to learn as a whole is that, control is something that we must surrender if we want to make progress in life. And you surrender control and you release control. And I'm talking about egoic control. So control that comes from the ego, from the mind, right? The more that you start to put that burden down and you start to release yourself from that, the more you're going to start to be able to open yourself up to change and to things that are new, that are different, right? Because there's always an underlying fear of the unknown that prevents us from taking those action steps that we oftentimes know that we need to take. So when we fear the unknown, we're fearing it because we often expect it to be bad or we expect it to be painful. But what if the unknown isn't bad? And what if the unknown isn't painful? What if we're just assuming that it's going to be painful? What if we're just assuming that it's going to be bad or that it's not going to go in a way that we want it to go? Right? It's incredible how much our perception and how we look at things really can mess with our lives. It can really mess with the progress that we have the potential to make. Right? So it's really important that we change the way that we see things, because when you do, that's when you can really start to make progress. So what we really fear is pain. All change, all things that we know we need to change or want to change come down and boil down to this one thing, is fear, like fear of pain. We're all afraid to be in pain. But what if the change brings no pain? Or what if the change requires a little bit of pain, but then a whole lot of comfort or a whole lot of love and support and other things afterwards? Then is that little bit of pain not worth it? And is it not more painful to stay the same, to keep just doing what you're doing? Because like I said, we all know what we need to change in our lives, and we all know that we need to make changes in our lives. But if you're always worried about the pain that's going to come from that, like, I have news for you. You're not going to be exempt from pain. Change requires a certain level of pain. And I think it's more of the acceptance of that. I think when we can accept the discomfort and not reject the discomfort, that's when we can really make progress. So don't resist discomfort. More so, allow yourself to say, maybe this doesn't have to be uncomfortable, or if it is uncomfortable, but I know it's going to yield a really positive result for me, then I'm willing to go through the discomfort because I'm already uncomfortable being where I am, right? Because why would you want to make a change if you were perfectly comfortable? And some people are actually perfectly comfortable. And that brings me to my next point, is that a lot of people are actually very comfortable with pain and with suffering and with abandonment and with, being in a certain state. A lot of people become comfortable with that, and that becomes their comfort zone. And that's when you're in trouble. When you start to get comfortable with the things kind of not going the way that you would really like them to actually go, when you start to get comfortable with that lack of change, then that's where you get stuck. And this is where so much of humanity feels stuck, right? Because we have become accustomed to pain. As a matter of fact, pain is something that is passed down from generation to generation. So we kind of show or display or demonstrate suffering to a certain degree or to a certain level to our children, unknowingly, unconsciously, right? Even if it's not something that you do on purpose, right? A lot of people are really addicted to drama. Hence why so many people are willing to watch drama shows. So many, and like binge watch them. So many people are willing to, really plug into like all these murder mysteries and stuff. And I'm not saying that, there's anything necessarily wrong with that. And I'm not saying that, you're wrong if you're doing that. I don't do that because I see and I recognize now that I actually want to be as free of drama as much as possible in my life. So I don't want to plug into shows or to watch things or movies or whatever that are excessively overly dramatic. A certain drama here and there, if it's a great story, sure. But I don't need that continuous drama because I don't identify with that energy any longer. I don't feel comfortable in it. I just like peace and love and joy and fulfillment are just such higher octaves in terms of feelings, that it's where I feel more comfortable. So you have to decide for yourself too, right? Because growth always requires change, and change requires courage. So you have to decide what side of the the game you want to be on. Right? Do you want to continue plugging into drama and being addicted to that and complaining all the time and focusing on all the things that are wrong? Or do you want to start coming into the other side and moving into that and changing into that energy of being in love and joy and talking peace and talking prosperity and talking abundance, about your life or about other people's lives? It's all about what we choose to focus on. So this is why change requires courage. So because it takes courage to overcome your fear of pain, or rather the illusion of fear and the illusion of pain, it takes work, and it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Be okay with that. You don't need to make this happen overnight. It just is something that you need to become aware of. And the moment you become aware of it is the moment that you start to shift in the right direction. So, and the fear of illusion and the fear, and the illusion of pain. Let's talk about that for a moment, because both pain and fear are actually illusion. When you start to recognize that, yes, it takes some work to, perhaps maybe it's your diet that you need to change, or maybe it's your exercise, or maybe like you're not exercising at all. Maybe you're not taking care of your body right now at all, right? So if that's something that you need to change, then look at the illusion of fear. Why am I afraid of this? Like the fear itself is an illusion. It's just a distraction to keep you from doing what you know you need to do. And people don't realize that change oftentimes happens. It's sometimes overnight, but in most cases, and in the reality of life, change always happens as a flow. I find it's like one continuous process that over time builds and builds momentum, right? So to get a super fit body, if you're perhaps not super fit right now, you're not going to accomplish it overnight. It's going to take time, and it takes a little bit of effort each day, or perhaps a lot of effort, depending on what you want to put in it energetically. But even just a little bit of effort each day will eventually yield results, right? And this is for all areas of our lives. A little effort every single day is going to yield results. Now, let's talk about the matrix for a moment, because the illusion of fear and the illusion of pain is a part of like the programming of the matrix, right? So what is the matrix? The matrix, in my perception, the way I see the matrix is a certain perception of life. It is a certain way of seeing life. It's a certain way of living life and experiencing life. So if we know that we don't like the way that we're currently seeing, experiencing, or perceiving life, then perhaps it's something that we need to unplug from, right? And so unplugging from the matrix is something that requires courage. It's change that helps you unplug from the matrix, because the matrix is actually dissolving now. It's starting to become easier to exit the matrix actually at this time. Particularly, I'm finding in the month of July, we definitely have so much light, so much amplification, and so much energy in this month that I'm noticing it's like the veil between the matrix is and true present God reality is really, really thinning. So there's just, it's like the illusion is breaking, essentially. Okay. So as the matrix dissolves, it becomes easier and easier for us to make the changes that are required, that we know in our hearts that we want to make to live better lives. So, yeah, so it's becoming easier to exit the matrix, but we must keep in mind how many generations have been born and programmed into the matrix, right? So again, it's about patience as well. So that change requires courage, but change also requires patience, because many generations have been now indoctrinated into the matrix, into this certain way of being and living, and industrialization, and the way that we exploit the earth and all of that. That's all a part of the matrix, right? So all of that is something that is a program that we have subscribed to for a really long time, and our previous generations have subscribed to as well. So now, in order for us to come out of it, the newer generations are going to have a lot easier time, because it's already dissolving, right? But the older generations that are still around, it's very important for them to start recognizing that it's dissolving, so that they can assist the newer generations with not being in it at all, and showing them a completely new way. So it's like, you can't show somebody the new way unless you know where you came from, right? So that's why it is our job, it is our duty as, previous generations, to really recognize what's happening and then make changes in our own lives. Remember, taking it day by day, small steps. And as those changes start to build momentum, and it starts to become easier and easier to embody those changes, it's going to be so much easier to be an example for the younger generations, to demonstrate to them that, hey, there's a new way of living, there's a new way of being. So the more courageous we can become, the faster and the sooner we can dissolve the matrix and break free from it. So you see, it's really truly up to us. It's not up to power, higher powers, like in terms of, people that are in charge right now. It's not up to them. It's up to us. It's up to each individual to choose this change, to choose, a better way of life. And sometimes people don't even know that there is a better way of life. And some people simply like the way life is right now. And you know what? That's okay too. They need to then stay in that reality and stay in that, perception. But we have to recognize that we all actually have an opportunity and a chance to really choose our own destiny, to really choose our own way of life, and how we want to live. We don't have to do what everybody else does. We all have choice, right? And I know the other part too here is the ascension process is truly happening in waves. So the people on the planet right now are waking up in waves. We're not all simultaneously waking up together. There's some people that are already have been awake and were awake in the 80s and the 90s, and then there's the other waves coming after them that are kind of just waking up or starting to wake up, and then there's people behind them who are not awake at all yet. So it's and all of it is okay, and this is what I'm really truly recognizing, that it's all okay, because nothing has to happen simultaneously. It all works together. So as we move through the waves of ascension, and as each wave moves through their own rising, then that wave is going to help the previous wave, and then that wave is going to help the wave before them, right? So this is how it all works, and this is why it's all beautiful and it's all wonderful the way it is playing out. There's nothing that we need to resist about it. We don't need to be pointing fingers of who's doing it better and who's not doing a good job. None of it matters, because ultimately we are all moving towards the same goal and the same destination, which is awakening. Man, that squirrel's booking it. I'm just at a park right now filming. I really felt the need to be outside. I just didn't want to film in the house today, so I'm at a park, and it's just beautiful. And the little squirrel literally just like booked it right across. Anyway, sorry, nature is always distracting me. So practice being courageous. Do the things that you're most afraid of. And I say this to you, and I'm saying this also to myself, and it is something that I have been doing myself. I've really started to push myself to try things that, I never liked to do before, or that I just, not even that I didn't like to do, but things that I was never brave enough to do or courageous enough to do. And now I'm pushing myself to do those things and try those things, because I'm really looking to expand my comfort zone. You cannot expand your comfort zone unless you are willing to push past it, which means you must get uncomfortable, right? It's the only way. So give yourself the opportunity to experience the feeling of overcoming within yourself. And listen, the more you have this feeling of overcoming, the more you're going to get used to it, and the more you're going to actually really enjoy the feeling of it. Because every time you overcome something, that's like you going up another rung on your ladder, on your spiritual ladder. And for me personally, it's an incredibly liberating feeling. So pay attention to how you feel when you do something that is outside of your comfort zone, and when you overcome your own fear, your own judgments, your own doubts, your own negative self-talk. When you overcome that, pay attention to how you feel, because I think you're going to get quite addicted to the feeling. It's very empowering, and it's awesome, and it's raw energy, and it feels so good. And the more that you do it, the more that you practice it, the more that you have that feeling, the more you're building your personal power, the more you're able to get yourself back into that energy of like, I can, instead of I can't. So practice being courageous, because the more you practice that, the more you're doing those things that are pushing you outside of your comfort zone, the wider that comfort zone is going to become. And it's like shit won't phase you. Literally, like certain things are just not going to phase you to the degree that they used to. It's like you get emotionally triggered less when you become courageous. And it's also about building familiarity, right? It's allow overcoming your comfort zone and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone to become a familiar feeling. And it's just going to be easier to do every single time that you do it. So this builds emotional resilience. It builds emotional stamina and strength. The stronger you get with mastering your emotions, the more you trust yourself, your decisions, and the more you're going to start listening to your intuition. So I think the reason why a lot of people don't listen to their intuition, and they doubt it and they question it and they are unsure of it, is because it's, again, not a familiar feeling. It's not something that they have done consistently. It's not something that they are used to doing or feeling, right? And so that's why a lot of people will doubt it and they don't listen. But if you really pay attention, you'll always notice that, oh man, I really wish I would have listened to my gut feeling, because like I kind of had a feeling that I should do this, or I kind of had a feeling that I should, do that or go there or whatever, right? Our feelings are actually our true guidance system, because it's not your head that feels. It is your heart. It is your soul that feels. So allow your soul to guide you through your feelings and connect with your intuition more. And you connect with your intuition more by simply listening to it. You get a feeling about something? Take action. Do it. Try it. See what happens. That's the only way to know whether that intuition, was that accurate? Or did that really come as a feeling, or was it just a thought that I had that, I acted on it. It didn't quite plan out the way I thought it would. And that's okay. That's also part of the learning, is figuring this out. You're not going to figure out your intuition unless you take those chances and unless you take those risks and just follow it, right? And just go for it and do it unquestioningly. So, so people detaching from the matrix are becoming less reactive and triggered emotionally by outside forces. And they are becoming more in control of themselves, their lives, and the circumstances within their lives. So this is, like I said, there is a dissolving, there is an undoing that is happening. And everything, the old matrix is an old energy. It's an energy that is not sustained anymore. It cannot be sustained anymore because of the new energy that's present, because of the immense amount of light that is present on this planet at this time. So it's inevitable. It's happening. It's happening, whether we're like on board or not on board. It is happening. And I feel like, coming on board is definitely the better choice, and coming on board with trusting yourself more, not allowing external things to influence you as much, particularly not like dark things, because there's a lot of darkness I find too, that is trying to influence us at this time, particularly people that are waking up. So, because the darkness doesn't want you to have power. The darkness doesn't want you to trust your intuition. The darkness doesn't want you to step outside of your comfort zone. It wants you to stay the same. It wants you to stay small. It wants you to keep hiding. It wants you to not use your light and your power and your God-given gifts, right? So that is a part of the matrix. That is what has been, right? People haven't exactly been encouraged. Children in school haven't exactly been encouraged to be using their gifts and their talents. As a matter of fact, they're called weird, or they're shut down, or, if a kid is more interested in art, they're going to keep shoving math down their throat, even though the kid is more artistic. And that's wrong. See, this is where we're not listening to ourselves, our own intuition, to guide us for the right things that are really truly right for us, each of us as individuals. Because if a kid sucks at math, then they don't, other than the basics, they don't need to know anything beyond that. If they're more artistic, then develop those gifts, because they're innately and naturally already occurring. It's not something that has to be forced, right? So, to create a beautiful life, changes must be made. So make sure you build courage through pushing past your comfort zone. Because the bigger your zone of comfort, the more your life expands and opens you to all kinds of experiences of joy, love, and fulfillment. And a beautiful white butterfly just flew by as I said that. That's awesome. So that's really what it comes down to. If we want to have success and love and fulfillment and joy and peace in our everyday lives, then we actually need to do certain uncomfortable things in order to get there. And that's why I'm saying acceptance is huge. It's a very, very important part of detaching from the matrix, accepting who you are, what you are, learning more about that, push outside your comfort zone, push past what you know, be curious, be interested in finding out more and different information from what you currently know. Because the more curious you become, the more you truly expand, the more you know, the more knowledge you have, the more perspectives that you can be exposed to, the more you're going to have recognition of what really fits, what aligns with you, what works for you, and how you could operate better. But if we're unwilling to learn, if we're unwilling to step outside of our comfort zone, if we're unwilling to try those hard things, the things that we perceive to be hard, if we're unwilling to try those hard things, then you will not grow. You will stagnate and you will stay the same. So at the end of the day, and at the end of this video, I ask you this: do you want to stay the same? Or are you ready to become a higher version, a higher octave, a more brave, a more courageous, a more powerful version of yourself? That is the question, my friend, today to ponder upon. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, for tuning in, for subscribing to the channel, for hitting a like on your way out. Thank you for joining this community, for being a part of it, for watching this video. My God, thank you, because it means that you are willing to learn, you are willing to open your mind, you are willing to step outside your comfort zone, and you are looking to expand beyond where you are right now. And that takes courage. Peace and love and light to all of you.